Okay. How is the energy, guys? Yeah, excited?
Yeah.
Still some energy? Okay, good. Okay, let's get started. I'm not sure. Are you sure this is working? Yeah. Okay. Okay, it's actually a good mic. Let's get a quick round of intro. Do we want to start, ladies first?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Definitely happy to. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So my name is Noyana. I'm from Mr. DAO. I'm the leading BD, and also I'm one of the co-contributors of Mr. DAO. So what Mr. DAO is doing, maybe some of you are not very familiar with. So we are the biggest decentralized stablecoin and also the BNB LST project originally built on the BNB chain. We have already over 2 billion TVL. And recently in April, we just launched Niska lending, which is a permissionless lending product. And also in just 2 months, the TVL reached 1 billion. So, and we are also the strategic partner of World Liberty Financial. So we are the first DeFi integration that USD1 have. And yeah, we're happy to be here. And also we're happy to share the panel and share stage with gentlemen.
Nice. Mike, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Mike Seligadze. I'm one of the founders and CEO of EtherFi. Our long-term mission at EtherFi is to create a DeFi bank. So a full end-to-end alternative to traditional banks. We're one of the larger DeFi protocols with about 7 billion in TVL and continuing to grow, and excited to be part of this panel.
Please go ahead.
Michael Mogren. I'm the CEO of SwapKit. SwapKit is a cross-chain DEX aggregator. We have a API and open source SDK. We focus on native asset swaps, especially Bitcoin. So we're trying to bring Bitcoin into the whole DeFi revolution.
Nice. Yeah, my name is Ash. I'm the marketing lead for Sonic. It's an L1 blockchain. We used to be called Phantom, Phantom, not the wallet. One of the reasons we rebranded. So Sonic is a builder-first blockchain, and we sort of stand apart from all these other L1s and L2s by putting the builder first and not prioritizing our own revenue. So we do that through a program called fee monetization, which allows developers on Sonic to earn 90% of the network fees that their apps generate. So it sort of flips the model on its head. Instead of all these L2s profiting based on their own centralized sequencer, we sort of take that money and put it back into the pockets of those who generate activity on the network and bring users. So super excited to explore that more here today.
Awesome. A pleasure to have you guys. I'm Francesco. I will lead this panel. I'm leading developer relation at a company called Consensus, the umbrella company of MetaMask, Linea, and a bunch of other cool products. So this panel is all about kind of like hype and DeFi, right? I just want to understand. Now the mic works. I can hear myself better. So there is a lot of background noise. So let's try to do one exercise. At my 3, we just say shh. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Huh? I don't know. No one gave a shit. We tried at least. Okay. So which kind of like vertical are now kind of like getting traction around DeFi? I will start with something a little bit more spicy here.
I mean, everyone's excited about stablecoins again.
Yeah, hearing more and more.
Me too, same here. And also, I think it also has catched a lot of traction, especially with Robinhood and also the X stock by Kraken recently. So I think this is definitely some hype again for industry.
Nice. What about like perps, aggregators? I mean, Hyperliquid is owning 80% of on-chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I think a really hot topic right now is clubs or central limit order books, essentially replicating the CX experience on-chain. And let's take it back to 2017, right? That wasn't possible back then. You had Ethereum, but it had like insane finality, maybe a bit faster now, actually it's the same. But like you couldn't achieve finality. So like for a central limit order book to work, it has to be almost instantly match a buyer and seller to match the CX experience. So to work around that, the LP was invented, which Uniswap pioneered, right? But now, with chains like Sonic, we have sub-second finality, which in 0.4 seconds, your transaction is final, irreversible, there's no block reorganizations, and that's for every transaction, up to several hundred thousands of transactions can achieve sub-second finality. So now we have stuff like clubs. On Sonic, there's a protocol called Express Protocol, essentially matching a buyer and seller, just like the CEX experience. And isn't that the ultimate goal of decentralization, to offer the same experiences that users are used to, just permissionlessly and without some kind of middleman being able to take your money or reporting you to the state or whatever. And now we can achieve that. So I'm super excited about clubs.
I think an easy answer there is, of course, AI. And I see that agentic future is coming at us fast. But in order for that to succeed, the AI tools actually need, the underlying tools of, how to work with blockchains and how to complete swaps for people, how to do things like purchase real world assets. So I think, AI is coming hard and fast, but we've really got to focus on getting that base layer, the MPCs, everything in place for the AIs to be able to actually carry out what the users are looking for in the long term.
What one question also that I had, obviously I'm starting to see more and more DeFi around node EVM ecosystems. Like one kind of like thinkings around was, do you see kind of like DeFi central around Ethereum? Do you see other ecosystem, even like layer 2s? What kind of like the trends right now?
I think this is
yeah.
a perfect question for Sonic.
Right, sure. So obviously, I don't believe in L2s. I dismiss them. I think they're a bane of this industry. I think they're extractive, profiteering, and they're only launched for the people who launched them to profit. It suppresses the price of Ethereum. It's not aligned at all with the morals of decentralization. So I think for Sonic, we sort of flip that on its head, and we're an L1, and we don't have like this long challenge period of L2. So I think DeFi and L2, it doesn't fit into the same sentence. If it's so like to answer the question, I really want everyone to try Sonic because it is really what DeFi tries to be. And obviously, the trilemma is decentralization, speed, and scalability. I think those are the three, right? Obviously, you have to sacrifice one or the other, but I think we found a really good balance of it. And over the next few years, decentralization will grow. But yeah, that's my input on that.
I think one of the reasons why we see so much success on centralized products is because they just work easily. And if users want to move from XRP to Dogecoin to, some token that lives on, an EVML2, the centralized exchange can easily pull that off for them, right? They don't need to actually integrate all those chains. They just have this deposit withdrawal flow. They have IOU tokens. So I think that's why we see so many users, end up going back to the centralized exchange. So in order to, bring those people on chain and actually deliver what crypto has been trying to build for, the last decade plus, we need to put the routes and the tooling in place so that it becomes transparent to the user. So the users don't have to think about, chains and different wallets, and they just have their one interface. They can swap from anything to anything. They can buy whatever assets they want in the real world. I think that we really need to think about DeFi instead of being like an alternative to centralized finance. The way that we make it is by actually turning it into finance. So instead of DeFi, it's just a better version of finance. And if we build those tools and we make it so the user doesn't have to think about the technology behind it, I think that's how we get to the promised land.
Yeah, I also want to add a little bit color on it. So first of all, regarding the liquidity of the Ethereum mainnet, yeah, I think Ethereum mainnet still, let's say, concentrates most of the liquidity, but also we see some strong L1s or L2s or some non-EVMs are growing and also are developing quite fast. Like Sonic is a very good example, and also we see Solana and also Base has also very good traction. And then regarding the chain that our Base, like BNB chain, it's also like recently, it's very close to Binance, and also it has some very good retail entry in terms of, for example, the Balance Alpha or the Balance Wallet. And also in the meantime, like Cities Bank and Cities has been pushing heavily on to encourage builders to build on the BNB chain, which also gains a lot of the traction to the BNB chain. Recently, we also saw a lot of the biggest DeFi projects start to put more attention and also to bring more resource and liquidity to BNB chain as well. For example, we work closely with Ethena. So Ethena has over 500 mil of the TVL that will be that they will bring into BNB chain, and also EtherFi's WEETH is also already on the BNB chain. So yeah, we definitely like Ethereum mainnet is still there. It's still like the most classic ecosystem, but we also have seen some strong players. And in terms of that, and I also agree with what Michael just shared. So I believe that in the future with the chain abstraction and also with like the easier cross-chain solutions and even new DeFi users or new retail users, when they want to try some actions or try some transactions or DeFi moves on chain, they don't need to worry about, okay, what is the difference of the different chain, which wire address I should use. Should it be UAM or non-UAM? No, with chain abstraction, they can just use one account with everything. So it's just as easy as in the DeFi. So yeah, we believe that DeFi will eventually reach at that point, and I believe we are still only at the DeFi, and also we have a lot of things that we can build together for all the ecosystem together.
Mike, anything to add? If not,
no, let's go ahead. That was good.
One thing that I was wondering around, I mean, we're speaking about scaling, we're speaking about kind of like hypergrow. What are kind of like, you kind of like touched a little bit on the layer 2 side and on the non-EVM side. What are kind of the trade-offs right now that we need to make in order to actually really bring scale, right? I mean, 437 account abstraction. I mean, I mean, on the developer side, I'm extremely excited what happens post Spectra around, usability 7702 with like batch transaction, batch requests. So it's already a big kind of like step. It's not enough, but we're getting there. But what are the trade-offs in terms of scalability, security, usability that we need to actually do? Because in my life right now, I have, 50 different apps. I'm starting to have 50 different smart accounts that I need to fund, they need to maintain, and I need to remember where my funds are. So it's starting to get confused. I think you touched on chain abstraction is something that it needs to happen on the user side if you want to onboard more kind of grandmas in the space. But what is your kind of like take around those trade-offs?
Yeah, the trade-offs, I think often we have to, unfortunately, centralize for a short period of time in order to get to this promised land of decentralization. Because you see protocols coming online. If you looked at 3 years ago, we had one way to trade Bitcoin on chain. That was Thorchain. Now there's probably more than a dozen protocols doing that. But if you dig into a lot of them, maybe they have one solver. Maybe that solver is themselves. But hey, they can do a whole lot more chains. They can do a whole lot more, faster transactions and things like that. So I think we're in this ebb and flow of, in order to give the users what they want, we probably have to be a bit more centralized than we would like to, at least for some period of time. So that's what I see as a big trade-off. And then, when you deal with protocols like Bitcoin, which we all know if you've ever used the chain, actually is extremely slow, right? It's kind of painful. You think you have a 10-minute block time. I did a trade last week. It had a 72-minute block time. So, that's a pretty bad UX. So finding ways to trade the assets that people want, stay on chain, but give a good UX, I think can be a challenge. So people are doing interesting things with, one-to-one secured assets and things like that. But I think ultimately to get the chain abstraction, we need innovation from every blockchain, from every ecosystem as well.
Maybe I'll say our perspective on it as EtherFi. I'll actually go out on a limb and say I think all the tech that needs to exist, although not perfect, is already there to create like really good user experiences. And I think that's probably been true for maybe over the last 6 months, where block space, depending on where you get it, is more or less free. Bridging is pretty good. And so our approach has been take the existing pieces, cobble them together in whatever way to create really good user experience that still respect sort of fundamental crypto values around custody and ownership. And I think we're getting pretty close to where crypto native products that are aligned with with our values have comparable UX, or are starting to have comparable UX to what we've come to expect from TradFi fintechs.
Yeah, I can also share a little bit about what we've been building and also how we can simplify the experience for users. So actually, our slogan is make DeFi easier. I think we can add one more sentence, which is even grandma can do it. That's for our goal. So yeah, first of all, regarding the thing like, okay, there are so many smart contracts, like people need to do transactions around like different DeFi protocols. So for us, we just want to build a DeFi super app. So you can do basically most of the things just within us. For example, you want to mint some stable coins, you want to get some stable coin, you can do it with us. And then you can find you want to leverage your stable coin to get some juicy yield. And you can also do it through us because we have our liquidity pool, also have the interesting farm that supported by our eco partners. So that's why we want users just to stay at our platform and do everything just within our platform. And in the meantime, we also think, okay, maybe some like easier chain abstraction and also easy entry for users will also be great. Like maybe when through MetaMask or through Binance Wallet or through OKX Wallet, users don't need to to jump into another platform. They can just find some opportunities based on their assets or on their balance, and then decide which product they want to deposit their assets in. So I think wallets can also play an important role in that. That's why we also work closely with different wallets to consider them as our bridge to onboard more users, especially retail users. So yeah, that's what we've been seeing regarding simplifying the user experience.
Okay, you touched on. One blocker for me is also UX, right? Usability, but I don't know how many developers do we have in the room. Okay, some of those. Just want to ask a little bit, do you feel kind of infrastructure developer tooling is still kind of a way to go? What are we missing right now in the kind of infra side for kind of making kind of DeFi more adopted, right?
Yeah. This is actually one of the things we focus the most on at SwapKit is because, ecosystems in crypto, they exist in silos very strongly. So if you work on Solana, you have a bunch of Rust developers, you understand that ecosystem very well, but you don't know anything about working with Solidity. You certainly don't know anything about working with UTXOs. So we try to take away, all the chain differences. So you don't have to learn about each blockchain. You don't have to learn about each swapping protocol. We can provide a simple interface where, you can request a quote for a swap from any asset to any asset. It looks the same for you. You have a very similar interface, no matter which protocols or blockchains you're moving across. So yeah, it's still pretty early for those tools, There's a few competitors in that space, but chain abstraction is still a long ways off. I think we're pretty close with like-kind chains. So, chain abstraction on EVM, not too bad. Chain abstraction between Sonic and a UTXO, we're not there. So yeah, that's a big focus for us.
Yeah, I even see MetaMask was 3 weeks ago announced the Solana native integration, right? And I'm trying to play out with Solana DeFi and EVM DeFi, and it's still hard because even on the Solana side, you still need a bunch of standardization to actually act on a mutual kind of DeFi. So I think the question is also whose responsibility is this, right? To actually bring standardization. I see definitely player like Li-Fi, Wormhole, all these guys. They're kind of trying to bring these layers, but it's hard also. Using their SDK is not a straightforward path. But yeah, that's something that I think I'm definitely looking forward more. But at the same time, I feel the space also evolved quite well. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we're opening up also a bit question from the floor here. But anything that you guys are kind of excited about, and some of the lessons learned from ECC. I want to hear some spicy takes, some hot takes here from you guys.
Well, I thought the Robinhood announcement and then the very rapid follow up from OpenAI saying that they don't endorse any of it was pretty spicy.
That was pretty spicy, yeah.
And I think that speaks to a lot of, maybe it's inevitable, but there's a lot of astroturfing that sort of takes place in crypto where TradFi institutions are sort of LARPing, where they say, we're going to tokenize this new asset. But then if you dig into how it actually works, you realize they're not actually, respecting how DeFi and crypto is supposed to work in the sense that it's fully permissioned. There's all kinds of, blacklists and gates that you need to go through in order to use it. And so I think it just means that, we have a long way to go. But I guess you have to start with LARPing before the real stuff begins.
Yeah, to add on to that, like to have gotten to a place in this industry where we can even speak the word L3, it's a bit of a joke. It really is a joke, and I think that 90% of this industry is lost its way, and the core ethics of decentralization and what we're trying to achieve by changing the world has sort of lost its way. And now it's like, as you said, it masquerades as DeFi, but essentially it's just a way to make more money. And sure, I understand that's the way the world works. The only things that might find success or appeal to people are things that make money. But what I'm hoping for is that, as you said, post-hype, in the next few years, we actually get back to what matters, is that changing the world with blockchain technology and not just appeasing the small group of people, giving us money to make them money, and sort of clawing out the pockets of retail users, because it makes a mockery of our industry. And I think blockchain technology has the opportunity to change the world. Unfortunately, it's inherently tied with finance, which is a corrupt thing inherently, and yet it can help people. So I think like every project out there just needs to take a look inside and sort of like reflect on what really matters. And all these like scaling solutions, all these things that are popping out left and right, to fill the pockets of those who launched them, I don't think that's the way. So maybe that's my spicy take.
Yeah, especially because it's like either a fork of the fork, and also I think I ran a transaction yesterday, $100 on mainnet. I don't know. I paid how much you think I paid? Like, I don't know, $10. Yeah, I paid 40 cents. 40 cents for $100 transaction on mainnet. I don't know if you guys remember, it was like 60.
No one talks about that.
Yeah, I mean, but $30 actually is quite feasible. What I'm saying is now with Fusaka, we will be lowering down. What I'm saying is that, I mean, right now it's, your hot take around layer 3 is actually top notch, right? Because I think what we need is clearing up a bit like the water around more kind of like proving systems. So I think on the ZK side, but not on ZK, on the scalability side. I think, we want to embed privacy in developer tooling, so that we have totally kind of like controlled, consumer-facing devs that actually have privacy preserving dApps being built without actually like having them to do a bunch of things on top. And I agree. But I think, people, the last time they did probably a transaction on mainnet was, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. That's why there is this kind of like PTSD around gas fee being so high. But I think 40 cents for like $10,000 of transaction is not a bad thing. So any other hot takes here?
I'll give a bit of an optimistic hot take.
Yes.
I think in the long run, on the right time scale, the market is going to choose the most efficient way to move assets, to trade, to organize our securities, whether that's stocks and bonds or our money itself. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of growing pains. There have been. There's always scams. There's always missteps. But I was pretty excited to see also the Robinhood announcement, and then stocks trading on Jupiter. My devs were actually testing yesterday BTC directly into Tesla stock. And I thought that was just such an amazing thing to see, like finally starting to cross those bridges and bring the markets together. So I think in the long run, the tech will work itself out. We'll find what the answer is. But I think that it's pretty clear to everyone in this room that DeFi is going to be more secure, more transparent, more efficient in the long run. So we'll get there. And I think, the future is bright.
Yeah, I can also maybe add a little bit. So first of all, like Michael just shared differently, I think there are more like RWA and regarding the Robinhood and also regarding a Kraken stock. So imagine that, I think this is super exciting because imagine that there will be more tokenized like RWA assets that will be eligible for more DeFi integrations and more strategies that can be built on top of that. I can these days during the ECC, I have also met a lot of the TradFi and a lot of the let's say different like TradFi companies and also the Web2 financial institutions. They are all excited about how to move their funds on chain and also how to maybe potentially tokenize their assets, such as not only the treasury bill but also like corporate bonds and also like the treasury bills from not only from US but from other countries as well, or potentially from Europe and as well, and also like the insurance and also like the real estate and also like stocks, like not only in US market but also for example in Tokyo, in Japan, and also in some other markets. So yeah, a lot of the TradFis are super excited about these new opportunities, and also they think it can also like generate a bigger adoption because when they want to purchase like the treasury bills or like the corporate bonds, they always need to pass the KYB process. But with on-chain, even retail users maybe can have access to them easier through some DeFi protocols integration. So this will also open a new door and a new bridge for them to onboard more funds and also bigger user group. And in the meantime, like how we can narrate the tokenized asset, other assets into different integration. For example, like we build a wallet on top of it. We allow the looping of them or on the lending protocol, for example, on us, and also or we can just simply trade them like through some DeFi yield creators or through some DEX. That would be interesting, and also like the same is blockchain into the different ecosystem. So I think there are a lot of space for the imagination of the other way for the different, like more Web2 assets, financial products, like the integration with DeFi. And also I think it can open a door for us for the mass adoption and also for more liquidity from traditional finance to come in. And I think at a certain point, we're gonna beat the TradFi, we're gonna replace the TradFi, and also we will be the center of the finance of the world.
Yeah, one thing I learned on my side that is a bit different here was I definitely was surprised about how we are getting ready for kind of like institutional stack. I mean, in companies like, Chainlink, they started to think about actually, being compliant on the institutional side. So providing blocks already for that. I think, we need to start going out also a little bit on the outside from the Web3 comfort zone and thinking about on the other side, what actually like institution will need to start to be compliant. And I think that was something kind of like I learned that is a bit different from you guys.
Yes, I think compliance definitely is something like we need to face, and also we need to think about when we work with like different institutions and also with different markets. It's just like okay, but eventually I think we're gonna figure out. It's like also because even right now, if we want to do, for example, you want to have a centralized change or want to run the PayFi business in some market, we still need to get some nice and get some compliance. So it's something that we need to cross. It's just like, okay, how should we do it in a proper new way that's TradFi or the Web2, regulators can be okay. But I think eventually we're gonna get the...
Sounds good. I think we're almost out of time here. Do we have questions from the audience? Can we take maybe a couple of questions? Maybe, do we have a mic there? Oh, no. One question from the audience here. I don't know if we want to have a mic. Or maybe shout out. Yes. So the question is, are we ready for the next billion users?
I can start with this one quickly.
We have 1 minute left, guys.
Where are the 1 billion users, right? I think sure, that would be great, but I think we need to build products that actually, solve a problem and not build stuff and hope users get here. So I think we need to build for the real world, look at where blockchain technology can fit in and improve current infrastructures, current things. And I know I sound like a broken record, instead of just chasing the next narrative, right? So they will come when we actually build a product that solves something that they use without them having to do all these steps to get on-chain. So essentially inserting blockchain infrastructure to improve current things that are happening.
Yeah. For me, I think like PayFi is a good business to, to have onboard the next 100 million users. So because a lot of the people right now, especially in Latin America, in Africa, they don't have access to the bank account. So without bank accounts, they cannot get a credit card or just a debit card. But if with PayFi, they can, first of all, get some USDT or USDC and then just spend the USDC or USDT directly. I think EtherFi has some cards that can do the similar thing. Yeah. So with that, when they start to pay or start to do the, international transfer through the crypto and through, the PayFi business, then they will gradually explore more about the DeFi and also explore more, for example, about the yield opportunities in DeFi. So I think like PayFi is also a good way to onboard like next million users.
I think we're very close. So the tools are there underneath. Like Mike mentioned earlier, it's not like we need some fundamental shift in blockchain technology, but there is a lot of polishing to do to make it accessible to normal people. I think I have a lot of smart friends still who I try to give them, like, off of Coinbase and onto a hardware wallet. And the hardware wallet just sits in their desk because it's like too intimidating for them to even look at. So yeah, we've got a long ways to go as far as polishing the UI UX stuff. But I think, we have everything from on and off ramps to interoperability between blockchains, PayFi stuff, yield products, like all the puzzle pieces are there. So it's just a matter of getting them all put together beautifully.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say all the building blocks are there. I'd agree with that, but like the consumer apps just aren't ready, not even close. I think maybe for 10 million users.
Agree. Yeah.
Let's start with that, then we'll work our way up.
We don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot, right? Because we're missing something, but we're getting there. Okay, raise your hand if you actually learned something new from this panel. Okay, someone? Okay, good. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for listening. Thanks so much for actually speaking about this. Big round of applause, everyone.